pop culture with DJing, singing, graffiti art are expressed every day within the inner cities of America and the world. You are not doing hip-hop, you are hip-hop.
Oh, good afternoon, peoples. Good afternoon. You know what? Every now and then, I'll pick a topic that literally throws me into shambles. Literally. I'm just like, Gwendolyn, what did you do? I end up down these rabbit holes, and this happens to be one of them because we are living in a time where confidence is being mistaken for credentials. Now, I have, as I say with some snarkiness, I have our dear friend here on the stage. I was reading this article that Miss Cheyenne Bryant, she's going through a backlash right now because there's been some questions about her credentials. And in this article, she's comparing herself, wait for it, to Jesus, the persecution of Jesus. Now, I find it I find it interesting that whenever people are getting called out, they want to fall on religion. That's a different conversation. But in the time that we're living in, if you have a ring light and a following, all of a sudden you can appear to be more legit than somebody who has actually done the work and done the studying. We are finding now that there are a host of people who have living some of the biggest lies, the biggest. Now, we got fake doctors, we have fake experts, fake stories. But here's the deal. These lies, they have real impacts though. They do harm real people. And so today I want to talk about that. I want to talk about it. I want to make sure that we understand where we are. And she's not the first. She's not the last. Just because the rabbit hole I went down, it's clear that we have a problem. We have a huge problem. So I just want to talk about the rise of fake experts really quick, just real quick, because these are not isolated incidents. This is a pattern where we're seeing these self-appointed experts who are just, I don't know, a little more charismatic than myself. I mean, I have some charisma at times. I can find it. But social media and the fact that we all have access to technology has taken away the gatekeeping that used to exist, which means the playing field is open for everybody. And for some people, we are mistaking visibility as credibility. So we're going to talk about Cheyenne Bryant, her questionable credentials. We've got Dr. Love out of Florida. There's the Veneer Doctor. Actually, there's two Veneer Doctors. And we're also going to look at Belle Gibson because that was serious. Let me do this though. Before we go forward, I'm going to play the intro because I have friends. I brought friends to have this chat today. Good afternoon, everybody. It's 4 o'clock. It's 4 o'clock. And I am Gwendolyn, J.R. Houston Jack. You are watching Girl Listen. Yes, in that moment, I was like, what is my name? What is my name? Good God. This is Girl Listen. And I am Gwendolyn, J.R. Houston Jack. And we're going to get into it. I don't want to take too much time here talking about all of this. I want to get right into it. So I have some guests that are going to help us get through this today. I want to make sure that I share who they are before we get into it. And yes, I'm gonna get to the comments and all the hellos. First up though, I do want to talk about, we have Dr. Dale in the building today. We have Dr. Dale. She is an emotional intelligence expert. Really, she is. And you can follow her on YouTube. So you can connect with her there, but you can also scan the QR code and check out more of what she does because she is legit. If I could just say that, if I can, I just said it. We also have Dr. Tachi in the building this afternoon, and she is also on YouTube under Dr. Tachi. You can scan her QR code and get to her link tree. So I just want to make sure that everybody gets a chance to check out our experts. We're not just bringing up people that don't really have anything going on. We got real people here, real people. Ladies, how are you?
Fantastic.
She's like, I'm ready. I'm ready. let me do this before I start off and get right into it. Let's say some hellos really quick. We have Jazzy in the building. Good afternoon. She says, beautiful people. Lisa is here with us. We got Cut Game. What up? What's up? Lord bless. Mael is in the building. Hello, Mary. We also have Camille Bryant. And she said, it has become worse since the world of AI. You know what? I'm going to flag this one. I'm going to come back to that. Thank you, Camille. Thank you. We're going to come back to that. He also says, notice a topic, but you kind of remind me when Mom used to hold Bible studies. Oh, you're so sweet.
Wow.
I get it honest. Let me tell you, my mom she used to hold some Bible studies. Plural.
Really?
Girl, look. we have studied.
Wow.
We also have Ron Lewis Foster in the building. We're getting some clips here. The screen. What? Oh, the screen is black. Was there a black screen, Lisa? Let me know what was missing, and I can bring it back up. She says, it's great to see my fellow board member and my previous professor from NSU.
Oh, hey! I'm just realizing who this is. How are you, my dear?
Oh, look at that. Okay, there you go. She said, I love both of these women. We have got it. She said, no, it's not. Wait a minute. She said, no, it's not. My bad. Okay.
Hey, Lisa.
Get it right. Let's get it right.
So let's do this before we jump in it, because I want to make sure we get everything in. Let's do some quick, I say quick, but let's do some introductions, because I want to make sure people know who they are, who we're working with today. So Dr. Dale, I'm going to start with you. Who are you, ma'am? Tell us a little bit about you.
Oh my goodness. Hello, everyone. Happy Friday, wherever you are. My name is Dr. Dale Laing-Hall. Thank you, G, for this conversation. It's going to be a fun one for real. I am an emotional intelligence. I'm the daughter of emotional intelligence. Over 17 years of executive experience, human resources, and I am the founder of Dale Reports. So that's all things HR consulting, leadership development, but with a hint of EQ, a lot of EQ, and just developing trust in the workplace, culture, decision-making, all the things. So I'm happy to have this conversation.
Sweet. Thank you. Dr. Tachi. It's about you, ma'am. Tell us about you, please.
So my name is Dr. Chetachi Egwu, known as Dr. Tachi. I'm a media professor, a filmmaker, a media content producer, also a journalist. I happen to be the host of Mediascope and a video series called Be More, teaching you to be better with videos and live streams. And I am the founder of Indie Soup Media, which is an independent network for independent content creators. Back to you.
Oh, look, she's like all like live at 5 and back to you. It's like, okay.
She was ready.
I was.
She's like, and back to
all
you.
morning.
Before we go too far, I do have to shout out my mother. My mother is here. Hello, Mom. Hello. Happy to have you. As she says, Lisa says, time for a cocktail. Okay, well, I do have a little something here. I'm not going to lie.
I have water. Dr. Tachi, what you got?
Oh, I'm in my canteen. I am drinking sparkling water.
Yeah, we got water.
Yeah, I have water too. I come prepared. You know what I'm saying? But hey, sometimes I like a little something.
But it's 5 o'clock somewhere.
There you go. She said, is there a doctor in the house? No, there are 2 in the house.
Yes.
Well, let's jump right into it. Let's get right to it. So here's our first segment that I really want to focus on. And this is, I want to talk about real quick, the Veneer Doctor and the real world consequences. I want to go there first. Want to get right into it. In case you guys hadn't heard, there is a lady, Monica Davis. She was accused of illegally performing dental work in the Chicago area. She turned herself in. She was charged with 3 felonies in Illinois. But here is the catch. She had already done this out in Nevada, in Las Vegas. Really? Seriously? Now, I have to say this because I'm trying to understand it. But the idea of not being a dentist, but working in somebody's mouth. You did it once, got caught, ran off, and then did it again in Chicago. And we're not just saying, this lady was doing dentistry and braces. She was doing some orthodontics too. And I was like, okay, but it gets better, ladies. Hold on. It gets better, people, because you thought, okay, that's just nothing. Then we have this dude, Brandon Dillard, down there in the ATL, where he scammed people out of like $4 million. He is the Veneer Doctor in Atlanta. The Veneer Doctor. And let me tell you real quick. Okay, so his lawyer, I'm curious about his lawyer really quick. I gotta take the comments down. I want you to see this. He pleaded not guilty, and in a new motion to quash the indictment, Dillard's attorney is arguing all charges should be dismissed because his client had no way of knowing he was breaking the law.
Come on.
Something tells me that this attorney doesn't have his credentials either.
How do you go into court and say, I'm sorry, judge, my client didn't know that he had to be an actual dentist to work in people's mouths? He didn't know he needed that.
If I was the judge, I would be insulted. I would be insulted.
Like, wait, what? So here is the question. Here's our question that I would like to, I'm gonna start with Dr. Dale first. And this is, why do people lie about their credentials? I wanna start there. So Dr. Dale, when I was writing my ideas down, people do assume that, no, there's no assumption. There is the idea that a title gives you instant authority, right? The title comes with. And then there also appears to be some emotional need for validation, admiration, control. And some people even think that, they'll believe their own narrative, if you will, over time. So the question here is, at what point does pretending become believing?
One of my family members have this thing that says, I tell the lie. I tell the lie so well, I have to believe it in order for them to believe it. And just that alone, pretending, just no, there's no words. Some people begin with, I would say that people lie about, these folks are lying about their credentials, intention, deception, insecurity, the motivation. What are they looking for? There's something that they feel that they're lacking, and it behooves us to do a little bit more research before we jump to conclusions. They convince themselves that they are basically qualified, right? And then what makes it worse is that their followers validate that, because they see, oh, they have 5,000, 1 million followers, so it must be true. They must be real. And no. Success, that number going up with their followers, that success is reinforcing the lie, right? Yeah. So before long, protecting that image becomes way more important than the truth.
You know what? I was thinking when I wrote this, before I turned it to Dr. Tachi to get her thoughts, that when social networking came on the scene, it really was to talk to people, meet people, create connection. And then we got to this new age of storytelling. And when people would call out somebody for saying, you're not really on a yacht, you don't really own this, you're not really doing that, they would give them the blues, call them haters. You're just hating. And I think now that because we didn't hold those folks accountable for the lies, which also became alternative truths, we have this monster on our hands. What say you, Dr. Tachi?
100%. I agree with Dr. Dale in terms of, there was something that you said, the last thing that you said, and I'm trying to remember how exactly.
Protecting their image became a lot more important than the truth. Like,
yes, because I didn't want to misquote you. So
Yeah.
that right there, that what she said. When I think about it, and I know we're going to get into individual grifters, but when we talk about Cheyenne Bryant, I've seen this narrative with her because of the fact that she doubles down. Not only is she loud and wrong, but she's doubling down on the loud and wrong. And then she then comes to, I don't have to prove to anyone but Jesus. That's all she does now. So now you've included religion in this because people are not quick to question religion. So as long as you can put an aspect of that in there, she thinks she's safe. Little does she know, people are far from the days of not questioning religion anymore. To the contrary, we question it even more now because of things that are going on. But she's falling back on religious tropes of people not being comfortable questioning things. And so she said, well, I don't have to prove it to anybody but Jesus. Jesus, well, yeah, you do. And first of all, why did you drag his name in this? He's like, why did you drag my name in this? How dare you? I think, though, and this is not to make excuses for any of this, because it is all deplorable and wrong. But if we did not have a society that only allows you movement when you achieve these milestones, we would not have this problem. And I'm not saying that they're right in doing this, but there are so many, think about how many roadblocks there are for people who actually want to do that. And especially now, and I don't want to get political, but you look at what's happening with the government and what they're doing in terms of making it harder for people who want to get graduate degrees. You cannot get a certain amount. They're capping the amount that you can get, which is way under what it actually costs to undertake graduate study. So there are roadblocks that are being put in the way, and that's more recent thing. But if you think about it, there have always been roadblocks. The roadblocks to this level of success is that you have enough money, or that you can qualify for this aid, or you can take out this loan in order to make it happen. So it is not guaranteed to you. So if we had a more equitable society, I suspect people wouldn't be so quick to try and feign their credentials because they wouldn't have to. And that's not an excuse. I'm just saying that's one aspect of it.
Well, this is perfect. It's almost like you read my notes, although I didn't give them my notes. But it feels like you read my notes.
No, we don't know. We're going blind here.
I want to talk about that fame economy. It appears that social media rewards attention, not accuracy. It doesn't reward accuracy. And that perceived expertise tends to lead to speaking gigs, sponsorships, courses. Again, you've got controversy that will lead to visibility. So I'm going to throw it to you, Dr. Tachi. Is our system creating grifters, or is it just rewarding them?
I think it's both. It both creates and rewards. Good job at being a grifter. Here's your prize. I think it does both.
Dr. Dale, thoughts?
I agree. 1,000%. The social media rewards the certainty, the simplicity, the charismatic, the confidence, right? And it rarely, from what I see as well, that it rarely rewards nuance. Or someone says, I don't know, which is going to trend more. Someone that is sounding confident, or someone that's vulnerable and saying, yeah, I don't know about this. And I don't know how I feel about it. The algorithm isn't, and correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, G and your experience, Dr. Tachi.
Yeah.
Algorithm isn't asking, are you qualified? It's asking, can you keep my attention?
The algorithm doesn't give a damn whether or not you're qualified. Not too damn at all.
No, exactly.
Not even 2 wooden nickels. It's not.
No.
It doesn't. I mean, here's my deal. And again, I just had a quick workshop last night that talked about focusing on connections versus followers, because real, genuine, authentic connections will get you the business, will get you whatever accolade you're looking for, will get you the community, it will get you whatever it is that you desire. Versus, yes, right?
All the things, yeah.
All of it versus the followers. And people were buying followers thinking that, well, if I have 1,000 followers, then I can get this sponsorship. However, there's this other number called engagement. And if your engagement is garbage, they're not talking to you because there's no engagement, right? So let me share a quick comment here from Jazzy. She said, it's the influence that these people have that allows the grift to continue. She also says we confuse influence with knowledge. Okay, so that's that. I just love how you guys are just writing this. Please go, Dr. Tachi.
Yeah, I wanted to add to this thing. I remember years ago when, live streaming became a big thing in 2015. Meerkat was founded first in April of 2015, March, because it debuted at South by Southwest, and then April of 2016 came Periscope, for those of you who remember. Those are the early mass media, plural, that were dealing with live streaming that made it easy for the public to do, right? And so I remember that there was an overwhelming amount of individuals who were like, I'm the Periscope king, I'm the Periscope queen, I can do this, this is how you do this, this is how you get it, this is how you get all these people. And they were getting so much attention simply because they claimed they knew how to do this. My thing is, though, and at some point we have to take responsibility for that, because you got on the same time I did. How do you know this is the way? That you don't know? But the average person is too lazy to do the work to understand. So you're going to believe whoever says they have the key to happiness in this land. The other thing about this is I remember at that same time, what's the weatherman from the Today Show? Al Roker. So yes. So Al Roker was really heavily into live streaming apps at that time, like the early age of it. And there was one, I can't remember the name of it now, but it was a big one, not Periscope and not Meerkat, but it was a larger one. YouNow, that was it. So he put a lot of resources into YouNow. And he was working with people. And I remember that the person that he was working with did like a kind of like an interview with Mario Armstrong. So, I was asking questions like, so what does it take to be put on his network? Because he had a whole live stream network, Al Roker did. And he said, minimum, you have to have at least minimum 20,000 followers. And that was the way people were thinking. At that point, it wasn't even about engagement. Engagement came later. They were only concerned about the number of eyes you had possibly looking at things. Yes. And that's where we get our numbers matter thing from. And it really does not, it's the engagement, but we were so, in order to even have a piece of the pie, because you had to have a certain amount of followers or a certain amount of community members, they wouldn't even talk to you if you didn't have that. And so we started to aim for that number instead of for quality and being knowledgeable.
Yeah. Quantity over quality versus quality over quantity. And influence without integrity, I mean, call it what it is. It's manipulation. You're manipulating people at the end of the day. And I know, G, you mentioned earlier about the work. I'm going to bring in this piece for the workplace, right? And you mentioned about titles and people thinking that titles get you, this is it. And which is why these folks are lying, right? And pretending, these grifters, this is what they're doing. The workplace shows you the title, CEO, C-suite, That's the boss. I'm a VP. Like, it's also right there telling you, right? It's making you believe that because this person is a manager, this person should be looked up to. This person is influential. He's a great leader. This person is doing all the amazing things when the title got nothing to do with it.
Nothing to do with it. I remember telling people at the previous job that having a title does not make you a leader. It just doesn't. And there were some people in that other organization that I say I would not follow to a trash can, and I meant that. I mean, it's like, look, I'm not even. Let me share some comments before I get to our next question, because I do want to talk about that cultural shift where we stopped using our discernment and we just started trusting people without any kind of verification. As Ron said, the problem is that we give these folks the power. Mm-hmm. Cut Game says, to be honest, a lot of people have paper credentials because they know somebody, while some gatekeep others made up because honestly, all the crooks know the loopholes. So you fake it is at the top of the chain. I'm just saying. Jazzy agrees with Juan, and she also says, listen, speaking as a person that has been around a lot of people with titles, I will say some of them are the dumbest people you will ever know. Let me tell you. I'm always like, and how did you get in here? Like, I just want to know who do you know that allowed you to get in here? Because you didn't get here by yourself.
Are you?
Yeah, right.
Just damn daft.
So who helped you out? But here's my question for I'm going to you again, Dr. Tachi.
Okay.
We went from a place where people would actually verify before they just trusted something. Now, if you have the look, the aesthetic, you look professional, which I even hate that phrase, or you have the language, you have the therapy speak, you use the medical terms, or maybe again, you just have the confidence to deliver, right, over the truth. There is clearly a decline in the institutional trust, and there's this rise of this independent voice. So have we replaced credentials with charisma?
Oh, I love that question. And I would say in the age of social media and visibility, yes, because the people that are rewarded are, as we've been saying, not the ones who are the most knowledgeable or the most adept. They're the ones who are the most charismatic. Because let's think about the average. There are some great charismatic doctors, for example, but there are some that are as dry as Melba toast. Is Melba toast dry? I don't know. I've never actually had it. It just sounds good. So there's dry as toast, right? But what happens is people like the flash, they like the glam, they like the glitz. And you may be a very adept doctor, but that doesn't fly in the world of social. And so what ends up happening is you have an overabundance of people that are, all you have to do is look now. That's why people are so damn confused, because there's so much conflicting health information out there. There was already conflicting health information because science is not an exact science, but now add that with pseudo professionals who are pseudo individuals who think they know this is what you should be eating for this, and this is what you should be eating for that. And it could end up not being well, but because it's wrapped in a pretty package, we believe it. So yes, I think in the age of social media and the age of visibility, it absolutely has taken over as more important than the knowledge.
Before I let Dr. Dale add in her 2 cents, I just want to give a shout out to a dear friend who I have to say he has helped me in so many ways. Nico Fontaine. I'm not gonna give his whole government name, but he says, say it again for people in the back. When I tell you his level of leadership and serving others still sticks with me to this day.
I love
Wow.
it.
It most certainly
Awesome.
does. So shout out to you, Nico Fontaine. We would say suck it in and tuck it in, but that's a whole
Wow.
nother-
Wow. That sounds like a whole different type of conversation right there.
There's something that goes with that. But Lisa says the celebrities with the titles doesn't mean anything. I don't know why people get their panties in a bunch over it. It's the school wanting to get a little bit of cachet from having this celebrity. There you go.
Mhm.
Ron also says here, wait a minute, come on now. There you go. Okay, there we go. The proof of Jazzy's statement is the U.S. Vice President and the President of the U.S.
Mic drop.
Long side, super long side.
Long,
Yeah.
loud, exasperated sigh.
Only for the uninformed does that charisma replace it. Yes. As she says, Camille says buzzword masters. And I mean, they got them down.
Yeah.
They are reciting those buzzwords like it's like a whole thing here. Before I go to you, Dr. Dale, let me get in Lisa's comment where she says, in Dr. Bryant's case, she has to be careful because if she's not really a therapist, can she be sued for impersonation? Ooh, let me flag it. Let me flag that one. Let me flag it. Dr. Dale, what say you about this credentials versus charisma?
Absolutely, I agree 100%. The biggest credential people trust is not a degree, it's confidence. And because they're going out there with all of their chest, confidence captures attention. Confidence captures, it fills the room. Confidence, I can't tell you how many times I've been in rooms where the leader claims to know something, and when you turn around and figure it out, and when it's time to do that project or to add value from their perspective, can't deliver. And so you end up having to do it all by yourself because they don't know what they said they knew how to do in the interview, nowhere near what they could actually do. But confidence is not evidence, right? Confidence is not competence. Confidence is not character. And definitely character is what keeps the conversation, the confident, honest. It's being honest.
I feel like I need some plastic mics next time I come on with y'all. I'm like want to drop all the mics around here. I mean, my God. I was like, what? Let me go to Jazzy real quick before I bring in our next topic here, because this is all still together. But Jazzy says, speak louder because uninformed eat all of this up is sad because in reality, they prey on the vulnerable. Well, okay, this is perfect. It's a perfect segue because I want to talk about the shortcut mentality. Because people are thinking, why should I spend 8 years when I can act like I did this and still get paid? For me, it's the hustle culture going wrong. It's like, I don't want to wait for that. I want to get my millions, whatever now. And then we have this outcome focused society versus the process. I don't want to know the process. I just want it. So you just start making up some stuff. So let me go here. Let me go to our next deal because I want to make sure we get in here. We got the social media fame and the false authority.
Okay.
Oh my goodness. First of all, for those of you, there's a young lady out in Australia. Let me take it down for really quick. Belle Gibson. Last time I heard, she is still on the run. First of all, not only is she still on the run, but she's running another con in another country. For some people, it's a serial thing, right? But Belle Gibson is the one. She's a young lady who claimed that she cured this really incurable cancer, and she was preying on these cancer victims, taking the money, claiming to do this and that, and she had all these people literally defending her when there were people who were like, I am sounding the alarm on this lady. And this is where groupthink for me gets into trouble. People are so quick to get behind somebody. It's like, you don't even know this person. You are seeing a version of this person online. Let me come full screen real quick for myself. Hold up. Yeah. When people talk about knowing people, it's like, I feel like I know you. You know the version of me that you want to romanticize, right? Now, I am G all the time. What you see online is pretty much who I am. I'm liable to cuss somebody out. Sometimes my attitude is stank. Yeah, that's real. My brother will tell you that's real. So when you see me in person, they're like, "Wow, you're not how I imagine," because you imagine some other version of me. I keeps it real. Okay. So, but we have this thing of romanticizing who we believe somebody is, who we want them to be, and we roll with that. So the people who were literally standing for this woman, not knowing her, I mean, literally giving the folks who called it out hell. Ooh, and what happened? Well, one, she wasn't sick. Two, she took all their money. And now again, she's on the run. And even when they asked her in an interview to come clean, she just she couldn't get her mouth to form the words to say, yes, I am a liar. She couldn't do it. As Jazzy says, yes, Gibson's story, it was insane. And I have to think as a person who may be battling cancer, you're looking for some hope, right?
Yeah.
So when our father was diagnosed with lung cancer, it was stage 3. It was an aggressive stage 3. And like I said, I am very matter of fact with change that is coming. So I was like, yeah, I told the doctor saying, we're going to do chemo. We're going to do this. I'm thinking, doc, he's losing weight entirely too fast. It's just not going to happen. Right. So I get how there are people looking for that hope, and they are preying on that hope. They are literally coming for people knowing that they are vulnerable. So before I go on to the comments and to the next ones, do you want to share anything, Dr. Dale, about Belle Gibson?
Boy, it's very sad when folks are preying on the vulnerable, and when people are desperate, when they're sick, when they're burnout, when they're grieving, when they're lonely, you name it, and their critical thinking skills often becomes secondary to hope. And to your point, hope is a powerful thing, right? And unfortunately, these grifters know that, and they walk right into it, right?
Definitely walk right into it. I'm looking at Jazzy's comment here as I go back to it. She says that Gibson was providing hope to people who felt hopeless, which is why she was able to gain traction. That is definitely the case. I mean, and
there's a quote by Tom Bodette that says, they say that a person needs 3 things in life to be happy: someone to love, something to do, your purpose, and something to hope for. And that's the world, that's humanity. And they're gonna latch on. We're gonna latch on to the little bit of hope that we have left, but at all cost.
Yeah, I agree with that. Well, you know what? I thought that was awful, which it is awful. But then we got this chick. Now, look, I am equal opportunity when it comes to grifters. I don't care what you look like. I don't care the ethnicity or gender. You can be a Virgo. We don't call it out. Okay. And the same way that Belle Gibson was preying on people's hope to cure their cancer. This is the same thing that happens in a place where people are hurting and they want the help. And then you have someone like a Cheyenne Bryant who comes in and claims to be a doctor. That's right. She trademarks Dr. Bryant. Which, personally, if you had already had it, you ain't got to trademark it. I mean, I'm just saying. But that's just me. Maybe I missed it. Maybe I just, I don't know. What got me though is, let me tell you real quick. As we sip something. What got me though is that in this latest interview, she was asked about the backlash when it comes to her showing her credentials, and she again compared herself. She references Jesus and the walk to the cross If Jesus, she says, had stopped to defend himself against every accusation along the way, he would still be there today, and humanity would still be waiting for forgiveness. Instead, he kept moving. He ran his play, and the work was finished. The metaphor is about choosing faith over reaction, about trusting your path more than you trust the noise around it. Look, let me tell you something real quick. We're not going to talk about the religious grifters in this episode. I don't have the time. I ain't got enough tequila over here, and I don't have the time.
And this is water.
I don't have it. I got water. Maybe I can fill in with some water. Okay, let me just. Why is it though? And I'm gonna say, and please forgive me, because if I'm wrong, please let me know in the comments. I'm gonna come to your comments. I got some great ones waiting on me. But why is it, especially in the Black community, that the first thing we do when stuff goes awry is we throw in religion? Why is that? Thoughts, ladies?
It's like I was saying before, because rarely do people question religion or question Jesus, and we've been taught it's wrong to do so. So the moment you throw that in as a factor, everyone shuts up. Oh, okay, Jesus is in this, so we can't question it. And so by aligning herself with something religious, be ready for some kind of religious book to come from her soon. There's a couple of because grifters don't know how to do things without grifting. So when the jig is up on this one, she's going to move on to something else, believe me. And the religious thing, in my opinion, is probably what she's going to move on to, and she's setting the stage for that. Religious conservatism, let me say that. So I think that's actually where it comes from, that we do not like to question. We are very heavily religious as a group in general. I say people of African descent the world over are very heavily religious, and there's a reason for that. That's not this show. But because of that, we are very leery of calling out anyone that aligns themselves with religion. I think the thing is too, also, that aside from that, she's Black. And there's this thing now that has been for a while that we are reluctant to call out other Black people who do wrong because of the persecution we already receive in society. So because of that, and I think this is the bigger thing, we are reluctant to do that. Now, people are calling her out, definitely. This is a whole other thing, because there have been other grifters that are male that people don't call out as much, if you notice. They call them out, but they sweep it under the rug. But this has become a whole thing, and rightfully so. She gets no sympathy from me, but it's interesting to look the role that gender, religion, and race have in this whole thing.
She could follow the R. Kelly playbook and put out a gospel album and say, woe is me, I've sinned one more time, but God saves me. So, you're right. Her book may be coming out. It's a very good chance it's coming out. But before I go to you, Dr. Dale, I want to say hello to Ms. Alice, who is here. She says, that's always my question, because it is there. And I do want to bring in this before we continue this conversation. This went too fast. This comment from Lisa, she says, sometimes degrees are not needed. Like a very talented person could design someone's home without an interior design license, but messing around with people's mental states without a degree is crazy. It is evil, in my opinion. It is evil. The same way that people who are out there being a dentist and doing orthodontics and not being a true dentist. Look, a lot of what goes on in the head is connected in your mouth, okay? So it doesn't take much to have like an abscess become a bigger problem that leads to an aneurysm. That is some serious, that's nothing to play with. I'm just like, how do you get out of the bed in the morning and say, hey, well, I'm making my $4 million, and you have veneers that might fall out of your mouth? I don't understand. Nicholas says this podcast feels free and touches on so many everyday topics. I need a part 2, bruh. We got 2, 3, 4, 5 coming because I've already decided we got to figure out how to have a chat about, and you are right, Dr. Tachi. I hate to say it, just the Black American grifters, because that appears to be in its own thing. But for me, I look at it as you already have a community that is often exploited and underserved, and then here you come in to do more damage.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what? Seriously? Yes. As Mary says, the health wellness industry is so rife with grifters, it's diabolical. And now with the AI ads, marketing is getting even worse. Woo! Jazzy says, yes, the trademark was low-key smart on her part. Crazy but smart. Here's the deal. If you actually had that degree, you wouldn't have to even worry about having to trademark it. I'm just saying, like, because you
exactly
have it.
I read.
Exactly.
No, go ahead, Dr. Tachi.
Well, I'm sorry. I just wanted to say really quickly that and there's an air of selfishness to that as well. I mean, first of all, you're selfish for presenting yourself as someone that you are not and receiving money from people, and damn whatever happens to them and their mental health. That is selfish, but it's also an air of selfishness to go and trademark something that you are actually not. There are actually Dr. Bryants out there that might want to trademark this. Now, again, if you want to do Dr. Bryant mouthwash, that's not the same classification under the Trademark and Patent Office, so that's not going to be a problem. But someone who wants to trademark something, the exact same type of business, that's going to be a problem. How selfish are you that you didn't even consider that?
And every time someone, I mean, like Dr. Bryant, every time someone exaggerates their credentials, their what they are actually doing and don't have the license, the degree, the experience to back it up themselves, they're borrowing trust that they haven't earned.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And yes. Eventually, at some point in time, like we're seeing now, that comes due,
Somebody got to pay that bill. But here's the other part. Since you mentioned that trust, I want to go there. Belle Gibson, the fact that she was doing what she was doing, people delayed getting the adequate cancer treatment that they needed because of what she was pushing. You've got your fake medical professionals who are, again, causing physical harm. That's a risk. You have your fake therapists and coaches who can create more emotional damage.
Trauma.
You have drama. You've got your financial exploitation of vulnerable audiences. I think about, and I didn't put her in here because she should have her own episode, but Elizabeth Holmes. Now she down here in Tejas. She down here in Texas still, you know what I'm saying? Surprised she ain't got out yet. But remember how she was telling people this one drop of blood could do all these things? People were harmed by her con. Real talk.
Gee, the time people don't get back, the time they have invested, they could have been actually getting some real help.
Seriously, real help. And there were people, I could have sworn there was like one lady who, based on the blood work she was given, decided to abort her baby, and turns out her child was actually healthy. If I'm wrong, somebody in the audience, please correct me.
Right. Yeah.
But you are messing with people's lives. These acts, these really horrible acts, have serious consequences. As Jazzy says, truth, it shows that so that you understand what she is doing. She doesn't care about anybody but herself. That's true. But hey, guess what? I got one more for you. Hey, we got our favorite. He's back, Dr. Love. Now this is first of all, he started early. He
was like in kindergarten when he started.
I mean, so he was a fake teen doctor. He was 18 when he did the first con.
Yeah.
He was back. This is like, I think back in 2021, I think he was sentenced. But he was sent to prison for a new scam. He is a serial grifter, as they say. This one, he was getting money from people. So instead of having people take the money and pay that they're supposed to go to, they were going to other places that he was telling them, and he ended up stealing like $10,000 from his employer. Serial grifter. He was 18 years old, pretending to be a doctor.
Dr. Love.
I was like, wait, what?
Okay. May I?
Yes.
At some point, knowing the type of world we live in, we need to hold ourselves responsible for taking shortcuts. So not only are they taking shortcuts, so are we. In what world are you not able to look up somebody's medical license? Any five and dime idiot can take a screenshot of a degree and plaster it on the wall with a Dollar Tree frame.
Not the island talk. And you went exactly where I was going to go, because that comes back to personal development. Talking about emotional intelligence isn't just about understanding your own emotions. It's also about recognizing when someone intentionally is manipulating your emotions against you.
Yes.
So your discernment, you have to be able to, are they baiting you? What do they want? What are their motivation? You need to check them out. You need to go research them. You have responsibility as well as the one that is subscribing.
Absolutely.
I love how you ladies are just it's almost as if you were reading my notes, because I want to talk about the accountability of the person that was grifted. I do want to do that. Let me do this really quick. Hold up. For those of you who are tuning in, because we're going to have this conversation. I'm not going to rush it. Surprise, surprise. But you are you are watching a live edition of Girl, Listen. And sometimes you got to like really stress it, like, girl, listen. And I am Gwendolyn G.R. Houston Jack. We are having this conversation. I have invited two legit doctors to come on and talk about it. We have Dr. Tachi and we have Dr. Dale. Dr. Tachi is about media and pop culture. She's an expert in that, as well as other things. And Dr. Dale is all about emotional intelligence. So here's the question, because we talk about the real cost of these lies, but I do want to talk about the accountability of the audience that's being grifted. Now, there is a show, one of my favorite shows. I think it's still on, but I don't have cable, so somebody tell me. But it's titled American Greed. Y'all remember that?
Yes.
Y'all know about American Greed, where they talk about like these major grifters? And then I said to myself, but check it. The people being grifted, there's a little bit of greed there too.
Yes.
Because if it's too good to be true, it is too good
to be true.
Absolutely.
So yes, your greed allows you to be cheated. But you're greedy too, right? Like, so it all comes full circle. So here's the question that I want to throw to you two, as well as anyone in the audience. Why are we so easily convinced? Is it that we are attracted to confidence? Are we desperate for answers? Are we just avoiding our due diligence because it's look, these veneers, and I don't I'm sorry, I couldn't even get it out with a straight face. I get that you want a really good deal because the American healthcare system sucks balls, okay? Yeah. But at some point, you got to know before you go trekking yourself to anybody's office and having them play around in your mouth. You might want to check that, kid. You might want to check it. If it's too good to be true, probably because it is. So what is it? Because there is some accountability on the person for going down this road. And I say that lightly because, again, I understand. Like I said, our father passed away from lung cancer. I knew it was aggressive. I read the report. So there wasn't this, hey, where's the magical cure? That was not it. Like, moving up those people. But there are other people who were like, she says she cured it. She's still here. Maybe that can work for me.
Go ahead, Dr. Dale.
I would say shortcut. It's quicker, it's faster. It seems like, it's shiny. Every this is and to add to that, every time that someone is deceiving someone else, it makes it harder for the actual people that are actual doctors or actual therapists, and we are falling for it ourselves, because I want to get this done. And I think, G and Dr. Tachi, I think it's a little bit of everything, right? Especially what's going on in the world, from politics to the economy to these gosh darn taxes or whatever it is that overseas stuff, and you just trying to make it, put food on your kids' table so they can eat, send them off to school. You're doing the best that you can. All the stuff that's going on in the workplace, and these employers trying to, whatever they're doing with AI and trying to get rid of the employees, and should they use it, should they not use it, like all of that stuff. I think it's a combination of everything coming together, and people just want I'm just tired, and I just want out, and this one sounds like he's saying something that that I want to hear, so I'm gonna give it a try without doing my due diligence, and hopes, fingers crossed, that it works.
Yeah.
That's what it really boils down to. I'm going to bring back Joan's comment here, where she says, in today's world, everyone wants a quick fix. Folks are not willing to take the time to do their homework. They're not willing to take that time. Now, here's the deal. I started Lisa's question because I do want to talk about that. I started her question. So here's our next thing as we continue to talk about this. There's some psychology behind it, right? Behind the fraud. As you alluded to earlier, Dr. Dale, there's got to be some emotional needs here. So we're going to come back to the Cheyennes, okay? Let's come back to that really quick. People like her. She's not the only one. Like I said, I just discovered Stormy Wellington. I didn't know nothing about her.
Ooh.
I clearly live in a very good space where I don't get caught up in that, but clearly this lady has been doing some things. I have to figure that out. So here's the deal. When we come back to this deal of people who are, let's just say at this point, controversial, like what's the reason behind it? Because they're going to still gain followers. They're going to still get followers. The question becomes, what kind of audience, though, are you now attracting? What kind of legacy are you leaving behind? Because your name is going to be stained, which I just, and what kind of impact is it going to have? In my opinion, we know that she wants to be, I say we know. I assume that she wants to be in a certain world, in a certain circle, right? And now that people realize that she probably ain't a doctor, when she goes in those circles, I mean, she'll be there, but it's not going to be the same, because you got people like, oh, there she is, right? Like let's just be real. There's going to be some talk about it. So here's the deal. I'm going to bring up Lisa's question now to add into this. Is that you can build the platform, I get that, but you're building it on a lie. So whoever you work with from here on out, is it just for entertainment purposes? It's like, I'm not really a doctor, but I play one on TV. Like, is it like that? You know what I mean? Is that where we are? Lisa says, but how is she getting clients? For anybody else, you have to go through your insurance to get a therapist or something. So how is she even getting people? Why are people not looking around? I could have sworn she said you only need insurance for, what was it?
You only need the credential to bill insurance.
Right, to bill insurance.
Verbatim
right.
what she said.
Yeah, yes. So she wasn't taking insurance.
But here's the thing. The idiots around her were like, oh yeah, okay. That's why. This is why. Because not only does she not know, you also have idiots who are platforming her and not calling her out on it. Why? Because of so-called pretty privilege. And we talked about this yesterday.
Oh,
if she looked like a raisin, this would not be happening. It's because, and even I'm going to take it further. We talked about this yesterday too, offline. Even further than that, it's not about features. It's about the fairness of her skin.
Mm-hmm.
There is a willingness to believe because of that. So it's this so-called pretty privilege, but deeper than that, it's colorism.
It's colorism. Yeah, Lisa says, you know why they're not looking her up, because she's pretty. Let's just be honest.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna go there. Let's go ahead and go there. We talked about it. We talked about it.
We did.
We mentioned it in our offline conversation. There is a place of colorism involved in there. Beauty is an eye of the beholder. All right, so I'm not even going to try to talk about like how she looks, but we do know that she's getting a pass, and I believe it's primarily because of her skin color.
It is.
Yeah.
It is because we talked about you said you don't want to talk about. I will then.
Dr. Tachi, I like Dr. Tachi.
I will then. And this is not, she's by no means, I'm not saying that she is not attractive or whatever, but when we look at it, to me, she looks like any regular person, right? If she was darker hued, this would not be a conversation. It is our obsession, especially in our community, with fair skin that does it. Because when I was looking at people, I'm like, okay. And it doesn't mean that she's ugly. That's not what I'm saying at all. But there is more beauty ascribed to her because of her the type of hair she has, because of how fair she is. That's what it is. Because if she had 4C hair and she was darker, much darker than a paper bag, this would not be a conversation. I can guarantee. Yeah. We think we have evolved past colorism, but we have not.
We have not. We have not. It is still very much there. It is still there. Let me get into some comments before I stay on that, on the colorism topic. Camille says, there are organizations today that I would consider bait and switch grifters in the workplace. Ooh. They hire you to stabilize a crisis or steal your intellectual property before quickly discarding you. Ooh, Camille.
Come on, Camille.
That's good. That's good.
Woo.
You see what kind of students I produce?
Oh, I mean, well, as Kutgay says, the world is a damaged place with damaged people, so it's easy to take advantage of damaged fruit.
Ooh.
Oh,
33.
Wow.
Oh, y'all bringing it today? Oh, y'all bringing it? Oh, okay. I see we doing all of this today. We doing all of it. Hey, shout out to DS. Good to have you here, sir. And we, as Jazz says, big facts there. Look, we know it's colorism. We're not even going to pretend. We're not going to pretend, because it really does depend on what pass they're going to give you based on what's going there. So here's my question. I'm going to throw it out to both of you, and whoever wants to answer first can answer first. Sticking with the Cheyenne Bryant, because she's not going to go away. As a matter of fact, I think after this, she gains more followers.
Yeah.
Well, her followers doubled down. And if you looked at her comments, they were like, oh, they're just haters. They're just jealous. I was like, my friend, jealous of what? With a WH, what?
What? Let me tell you something real quick before I bring up this question. Even in the racing worlds, there are people who will cheat to get race bling. All right? There are people who will cheat in a marathon, and a half marathon, in a 5K even. Now, I'm looking at my medals like I have ran all of these races, every single one, right? I'm looking at my degrees on this side and on this side. I mean, and if I must say so, I just passed my level 1 to, I'm not going to be a sommelier, but I'm working on some things. Yeah. It's like, really? Where is the jealousy in that? Because, I can throw out the flex. I can, anybody could throw out the flex. If you really had it, you would just show it. So it's clear you want to be around the people who have this certain level of education and, dare I say, intelligence.
Can I say something to that? Yeah, I'm probably not going to have a lot of friends after this, but that's okay. because these are some people that I know that have seen this. And that's why sometimes when people are like, oh, I just graduated with such and such from such and such, I just say nothing, because I know it's not going to come out nicely if I say anything about it. I'm also, I'm an academic snob. I know this very well. Part of the thing is because I work my behind off to get to where I am and to get the credential that I have. And I'm like, but my friend and I always say this from Howard. We're like, yours is not the same as ours, and that's a terrible thing to say, but it's true, because there was a path that was determined that this is the way to do things for a reason, so that you have everything that you need in order to, if you're going for a PhD, for example, to relay information to the next generation of people in that field. You are supposed to be extremely adept and masterful at relaying this information. If you're pretending, or you got an honorary degree from a Bible college somewhere in Alabama just because they want to improve their image and they're using you and you're too dumb to know it, I don't know what to say. But it is a slap in the face, and it is disrespectful to those of us who actually took the time, took the money, or money that wasn't ours, to do this because we cared about the field. You don't care about the field. You care about a credential. You care about being called Dr. such and such. And I see this all the time. Like, I can tell who was actually legitimate about going about getting their doctorate, and the people who just wanted the title, because as soon as they graduated, like on Facebook, they squeezed doctor in there so that everybody knew, oh, let me put doctorate. So everybody knew. They squeezed it in there. There was no more room. You took your last name out so you could put doctor something there. That shows me that you are more concerned about a credential than improving the field. Have several seats.
She said, take the whole stadium. Take the whole stadium.
The whole stadium.
Dr. Tachi, what if I say that these people that are continuing to fall Cheyenne Bryant anyways is because at this point they say they don't care. They don't care whether she has a doctorate or not. If she gets me the results that I'm looking for, then I'll go with that.
Then whatever befalls you, boo-boo, is what you deserve. At some point, we have to take responsibility for our own safety, our own health, our own education. And what you're doing by not researching whether or not this person is actually credentialed. There are accrediting boards for a reason to make sure you don't get harmed. So then when something happens and then you want to complain to the heavens, nobody is going to listen because you did this to yourself. You were too lazy to research, or she looks good, so I'm going to stick with her, or she's black, so I'm going to stick with her. All these other reasons that don't boil down to I have the degree or the credential to do what I'm doing. None of that other rubbish matters. So if something happens to you, God forgive me for this, but that's what you get.
Right.
What you get.
You get what you get. And think about the emotional need that this person is probably, people like these grifters are trying to satisfy, right? What are they looking for? Is it some trauma, some attachment, money, significance, like you mentioned, belonging, power, status, you name it, they're looking for validation. And I think I read somewhere that Cheyenne Bryant was providing marriage advice and saying that she was a licensed marriage counselor or something, and they were saying she's never been married and she don't have the experience and she don't have the degree, and then on top of that, adding so many things, saying that there are more women out there, more men out there that wants to be married than and she at this point just spitting out stuff, unfortunately, that just didn't make any sense.
Dr. Dale, can I ask Dr. Dale a question? Because This is kind of within your wheelhouse.
Yeah.
And to people saying that, how are you going to give marriage advice or counseling when you're not married? to one extent, I can see that being the case, but to another extent, even if you are married, all of that is anecdotal evidence based off of your own thing. So I don't see that
individual experience. Yeah.
Yes. So now you're upset. So you can't use that as an excuse, because one person being married, even when you go to your religious counselor, right, for counseling before you get married, they are not going off of "I've been married for 25 years, therefore this is the case." No, they are going off of "I have studied the word, and this is what the word tells us about fruitful marriages, and this is what." So we could use that same thing when it comes to counseling outside of that. I don't believe you necessarily have to be married, but again, this is not my wheelhouse.
100%. The deception does not excuse the behavior. And to your point, Dr. Tachi, exactly. You get what you pay for. You invested in it, then don't cry or don't come crying after it doesn't give you or something worse than what you had before, you know?
So
and we're not wishing that on
Jazzy's. I want to share Jazzy's comment, and then I'm going to ask you guys this question as well. And she says, we have to remember who is platforming her. Those people are never going to be able to question her because they don't know, or they choose not to know. So here comes the question here, and this is very simple. Is controversy becoming the business model? Is that the business model? And do audiences, again, reward authenticity or just attention? Is that the model? Is that, you know how they say there's no thing as bad publicity? Okay, that's BS, first of all. But is that the deal? Is that the new model, is to be controversial?
Dr. Dale?
I mean, if it's a new model, I'm gonna take it to if it's a new model, it's a new model for you. If it's a part of your values, right? If that's what you stand for, if that's what you're about, and you have no problem deceiving and pretending, and your audience knows that and understands that, that's you. So kudos to you, and it's working for you. Keep doing it, you know. But for others, or like myself, like I've studying emotional intelligence in a workplace and seeing the benefits of it and then not for me to go out and say that I didn't do that and didn't sit down and talk to all those leaders and pretended like I didn't do it, and then come and want to work with an employer that and don't have the experience or have not done that research. I would slap me in the face. Like, you want to make sure the person that you are receiving advice or mentoring or coaching from, that they have what they say and they have the results, right? You don't want to put yourself in harm's way like that. So if that's the way to go, controversy, I mean, it's not for me.
Ditto. Yeah, Tachi, you want to add to that? Or are you good?
Yeah, can you repeat the question, because there was a part of it I wanted to speak to. And
the question is controversy becoming a business model, and do audiences reward authenticity or just the attention?
Yeah. So in terms of controversy becoming a business model, here's what I think. I don't know that people are intending to be controversial when they do these things. They're intending, well, maybe a little bit of it. They're intending to be provocative, I think, more than controversial.
To be different, I guess.
To be different, right. To invoke some quote unquote thinking, right? Whatever that means. So they're trying to be different. They're trying to be provocative. I don't know that they're trying to necessarily be controversial. What I have seen is that this is also, in addition to being right up Dr. Dale's alley and this being an emotional intelligence thing, this is also an organizational culture thing. Mm-hmm. Different cities have different organizational cultures that lend to these things. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry for anybody here who's from the ATL, but ATL is Grift City. Ooh. because everybody is trying to be seen and everyone is trying to make it. So I think here's the bigger thing is that people are trying to make it. We live in a society, in a world where it's in this country, it is very difficult to amass lots of wealth unless it was passed down to you.
Right.
Or, and there are, of course, those of us who have been able to do it through hard work, but then there are others of us who are trying. And so because we see the first shiny earth, wind, fire, air, fake susu type thing, which is really a Ponzi scheme, we will grab onto it because we think that is our ticket to wealth.
But
never mind, they got the whole susu thing wrong.
no.
But people hear that, and then the story that they were using with that is like, oh, this has been done in the Caribbean for years and blah, blah, blah. And then when I talk, like a lot of my Caribbean friends would always talk about that. And then I asked my mother, she said, we do that in Nigeria too. It's called esusu. That's where it came from. Okay. So that's a different concept than scamming people, and everybody puts it into, and depending if you're fire, wind, water, platinum, or whatever the hell, determines how much of the pot you get. So that was really a great, and I've talked to people who were scammed by that. I don't think it initially started off as a scam, but it's a pyramid scheme because only the people at the very top benefited, and it only worked if you kept bringing new people into the pot.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that couple, is it the Moors? It's the Moors, right? The Moors.
Yes, the Moors.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, up here again in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Of course, I thought to myself, how is it that you would take something that is cultural and do some typical colonizer behavior with that? What does that say? What does it say? Well, at this point, it says that each of you get 40 years apiece for that. I'm gonna come back to them though. Using the susu to just literally devastate people who truly were taking their last of their savings to make it stretch. Let's put a pin in the Moors. As Diaz says, yes. So many insecure people, especially online, it's sad. People want validation and they will do almost anything for it. Jazzy, of course, is giving us, because, there's a lot going on here that we're talking about. But Ron says that controversy sells, unfortunately, in the populace. And that is that. We also have some new folks coming in. JL says hello, Tachi. Hi. Anthony Davis is also saying hello. Yes, Lisa, it was a fake susu. It was first of all, they got a whole episode on American Greed. I was so disappointed. I said, what the what?
Doesn't it just hurt your heart when you see folk on there, and when you see brown folk on American Greed? I'm like, if you made it there, you've done something really bad.
Yeah, right? Because we're talking like American Greed is top tier greed, people.
Top tier greed.
Top tier greed when you get an American Greed episode. But let me go to Dr. Dale on this one. And the overall question is, why are audiences so quick to trust confidence over credibility? But here's my question, and this is the emotional part here. It is what emotional needs drive people to fabricate identities, right? How do we rebuild trust in ourselves and others? Because if you talk to some people on the socials, there are a lot of folks who are just not trusting of anything now. And let me go back. I'm going to say it's mostly of the younger gen because they have been duped by these influencers. And so they're feeling some kind of way. When we grew up, it was just 15 minutes of fame. If I could just get on the TV, like if you were on the news for like 5 minutes, you called all your family, all your friends. It's like, tune in, I'm on the news. I remember being on New York 1 when our subway got shut down for like 6 months due to the ceiling falling in. And they were like, hey, can we interview you? I was like, yes, of course. All right. So like all of 2 minutes done. But I told my mama, my daddy, I emailed the link. We have so gone past that. So what is the deal, Dr. Dill? What is it about the emotional needs driving people to make these avatars and then try to pass it off as real deal?
Fear. Fear. Fear that you're not gonna matter. Nobody will remember you. You know? And people often, and with the conversation that we're having here, most of us probably thinking that the grifter wins, you know? But emotionally, think about that. They're carrying an enormous burden. Think about imagine waking up every single day wondering, will today be the day people find out? Right? Just think about the little lies that we tell throughout our day. My mom gave me a letter in the morning to mail, and by noon she called me and asked me if I mail that letter, and I said, yeah, Ma, I did. I didn't. But I knew before I came home, I was going to mail that letter because it needs to be true. I can't hold on to that for too long. So think about that emotional toll, right? It's exhausting. Just living a false identity requires constant maintenance. And one lie becomes 10 lies becomes a lifestyle. And by the time you know, eventually you no longer, you're protecting your reputation, right? You double down and you're protecting a version of yourself that just doesn't exist. And which is why, you know, what a lot of people happen when pandemic happened, they're like leaving jobs because what they were presenting themselves at work or who they were being, it wasn't who they were. And it became at that point, they got a chance during the pandemic to really sit with themselves. And that became a tool. Authenticity is emotionally lighter than deception. Way much
as Jazzy says, that's why it sits between her and Jesus. Well, trust, kid. You know what? Let me say. Yeah. You know what? I thought about when people are out here wearing their mask. And there is a quote. What is the quote from James Baldwin? Oh my goodness, I can't remember it. It's about letting go of the mask or what have you. I got to find it because you know I love a good quote, Dr. Dale. But there's a lot of work in walking around with a mask. And so like when social media first came on the scene and we were seeing people telling these stories, my whole thought was, you do know someone knows your truth. And so you're always waiting for someone to call you out. But again, when they would call somebody out, then it became, oh, well, you're just jealous and you're just a hater. And so folks just stopped calling it out. They're like, you know what, forget it. Because like, what's the point? But there's got to be a lot of fear that at some point someone's going to recognize your lie. Now, I will tell you, and I don't mind saying that, as a Virgo, we're some masterful liars. You know what I'm saying? We don't tell too many. Let me tell you, because we will argue you down. We will keep all the things in order. Is what we keep receipts, so it's okay to kind of keep them, but we don't tell too many because you have too many lies floating out there. Then it becomes hard to keep them together. You know what I'm saying? But we only tell so many. So if I know I told this one to you and it comes back, it's like that's why I don't tell you anything because you don't know how to keep anything to yourself. You know what I mean? But okay, so here's the reason why I say we were good at lying. It takes a lot to get a Virgo to say that they're wrong. You know, I mean, like I'm just saying, you can say, "Oh my God, that's not true," and I will give you 5 reasons why it is. And you'd be like, "Well, maybe she's right," because there's a lot of confidence. Like a Virgo's like, "Look, I am telling you, that's not right." And would I lie to you? I mean, come on, would I? You're like, I don't know, maybe she is. Maybe she's right. Maybe I'm wrong. You're wrong. Some Virgo behaviors. Go ahead, Dr. Tachi.
Add something to that, to this whole thing. So have you all ever seen the movie 12 Angry Men?
No.
I did a long time ago, but I don't remember.
Okay, it's okay. You don't have to remember. There's no test after this, unlike my students, which is I actually use 12 Angry Men as a teaching tool. And so in the movie, the 12 Angry Men is basically about a trial, and the 12 Angry Men are the members of the jury, and they're trying to determine the guilt or innocence of this young boy who supposedly stabbed his father, supposedly, right? And so this is the original 1950 something version I'm talking about. So in 12 Angry Men, they brought all these people. It only took place in the jury room, but they were talking and relaying the facts of the case. So one of the witnesses was a person who said, "Oh, she saw it." It turns out that it came into question because you don't wear glasses when you sleep, right? Yeah. So it came about like they said, well, why would she lie on the stand? And one of the oldest members of the jury said, attention, maybe. And he said that, if you see that she was wearing clothes that were new. She was making a tremendous effort to look good for her first time in court. So to that, if we look at that as a metaphor for what's happening, attention. These people have never been paid attention to before, or they came from backgrounds where they were disregarded. So now that you come up, you lie to make yourself feel important for your first appearance in court.
Right. 100%. And that means that I guarantee you, we do deeper dive into all of these grifters. You'll see that the fear from them to Dr. Tachi, to what I said before, bringing it all together, their fear of their mother, their fathers, their whoever taught them growing up, they didn't get what they needed. So they are going and create that space however they can,
Wow. Let me get to some comments before I get to, because y'all are bringing all of it today. DS says, many people build a false identity because they believe their authentic self isn't enough. That belief can come from childhood experiences, rejection, bullying, trauma, or constantly comparing themselves to others. He says, if someone only feels valued when they're admired, successful, wealthy, attractive, or important, they may begin performing an identity instead of live one. Ooh,
come on, DS.
Come on. You know what? Wait a minute. Where's my collection plate? Hold on.
I need a tambourine for the next one.
You know what? I'm gonna order me a tambourine, Dr. Tachi, so I can have it on hand. Just do my little tambourine over here, because y'all look. Woo! Wow. DS. Anthony Davis says it's kind of like the people who will blindly follow people like David Koresh, George Jones, and drink the Kool-Aid or Marshall Applewood from the Heaven's Gate cult. Ooh, Heaven's Gates.
Yes.
Oh man.
This is very cult-like. Absolutely.
Shout out there. And I will say this as I go through these comments, as Jazzy says, she was required to watch the 12 Angry Men in film school. I'm gonna have to find that. I'm gonna go ahead and put it down. Even Mary says 12 Angry Men is a great movie. How did I not see that, Mael? How you let me get through that? I don't understand.
Maybe we'll do a movie night. I actually have 12 Angry Men on DVD, so I don't know. Maybe we'll do a virtual movie night.
We're going to have to definitely get into that. Diaz also says the problem is that if your self-worth depends on other people's approval, the approval never feels like enough. You have to keep maintaining the image.
Mic drop.
Said, oh my God. These are, I say this often because my mind goes to a place of really wanting to understand why people do what they do. And I think about my childhood. My parents are who they are. Were they perfect? Absolutely not. But I cannot help but lean on the lessons that I got from my dad and my mother and my grandmama, like that sage advice. It keeps coming up. It just keeps coming up. But I do believe, because I've always wondered, are there some people who are just wired to fall prey? And I know that sounds awful, so I'm speaking out. I'm asking for grace here because I'm just talking out. As I was sharing with Dr. Tachi and the ladies yesterday, I found an old video of myself reading one of my poems, and the gentleman who was part of the committee who picked the winner was saying that Gwendolyn obviously has a political agenda. Like, even as a high school student, I was deep in it. And I thought to myself, this has always been the way I've been. I've always been the person who was going to buck the system. I don't know if it's how the sun, moon, and stars are aligned, but I was not the one who was, hey, now I'm not saying that I never got like played by some dude. I'm not saying that. But some other things were it just wasn't, it's like, you know, how people blindly follow someone and end up in a cult, or see people right now on social media giving this really great advice about you can go to Bora Bora and write up on the IRS and you don't have to pay for it. Let me say, I'm going to be really quick. If you have to pretend to have a business meeting so that you can have a party in Bora Bora, you shouldn't be going to Bora Bora. You can't afford it. Because when I go on vacation, I go on vacation.
It's too much. It's too much.
This is reminding me of something. Who watched on TikTok, back when I was on TikTok, the whole 52-part series of Who the F Did I Marry?
I saw chunks of it. I never watched all 52.
Not all.
I watched
I'm
all
over
52. I sat there and watched all 52. I was like, really? Didn't get a damn thing done for 2 days, but I watched that.
And who did they marry? Like, what was the...
So she married someone, she met someone, and he presented himself as someone that he was not. And my thing is, like, there were all these red flags that came up. So this is several-fold in terms of our conversation. So we have this individual who is presenting himself as somebody that he's not. Oh, he works here, or he does this, to the point that he would be, talking on the phone to his brother and say, oh, so my brother said, hey, and she'd be like, oh, hey, tell him I said, hey. He was never on the phone with the brother. He was talking to nothing. That, I think there was some mental issues going on, but the point is he was pretending to be someone he's not. But in wanting that to be the case, and wishing and wanting for love, in trying to be where society thought she should be, married with kids, she overlooked all the other red flags and still married this person anyway. How many times do we see red flags in relationships or in business deals, and we still overlook it anyway because we see potential, or we see that this is the way that we're supposed to be. So let me go on ahead and I should have a business by XYZ. Let me do this. Never mind, it's a cockamamie business.
Yeah.
Right. Or even the workplace. If you have an interview and you think that it was great, it was perfect, even though in that interview there were red flags. There were things that they were saying online. You looked online, they were saying what they were saying, and you showed up the first day. You're expecting what? What were you expecting? You really get, if you do your research, it's there, right? And at the end of the day, you going into to Dr. Tachi's point, realizing that sometimes people are not being honest. They're just not, and confidence, may get you the followers, right? But character, really, it determines whether or not you are safe, whether or not that following, are they going to stay? And or do you, it's also showing, do you care about humanity, people? Like the basics, right? Like basics.
We also don't like to be wrong. Sorry to jump in. We also don't like to be wrong. So for these people that are doubling down with the Cheyenne Bryant and these other people and sticking by them, it is embarrassing to admit that you were fooled, and people don't like to be made fools of. So they will, rather than say, you know what, fooled me, I was wrong, they will double. Oh, well, you're just a hater. She's not a grifter. You'll double down in your own stupidity because you don't want to admit you're wrong.
But then again, Dr. Tachi, imagine, depends on Imagine if boarding a plane and you find out that the pilot, he sounds confident, he looked the part, but then halfway through you figure out, wait, he didn't finish flight school.
Oh God.
Wait a minute. She said he didn't finish flight school. She's like, no, that's okay. I think I'm gonna wait for the next one. I'll take the next one.
It's too late, right?
It's too late. It's like, I'm sorry, we have already pulled away from the game. We are taxiing at this point.
Okay.
Lisa says, comparison is the thief of joy. Be your damn self. She could have been a successful life coach. She most certainly could have. Why does she need to lie and say she was a doctor? She needs a therapist herself to work on those shadows. Okay. Ooh, Lisa.
Lisa said
Here's
it
my
all.
thought.
Yeah.
This goes back to my thought. You want to, it's in my opinion, she wants to be in certain circles. Clearly there is a want to be in a certain circle. But now that it's come out that you don't have those degrees, and yes, you may have trademarked it and whatever, but you can still go into those rooms. The look is not going to be the same. And in my opinion, the crowd she is now attracting is going to be the same. It is now entertainment. I just play a doctor on TV. I mean, like
she has to be a snake oil salesman now.
Yes. I mean, like really, the only thing she could do is it's like that guy. And I'm sorry. Everybody's young in my mind, but there's a young man who got a ticket for not having driving without a license, but he had never had a license. And he went and finally got his license. He was like 40 years old. He went and got his license. They're like, oh my God, he has a license. I mean, she can still go back to school and get it.
Who's going to believe her though?
Legit.
But
she can, but it will be wall
Remember,
decoration, wall decor.
She don't care about the actual getting the degree and doing the research and understanding whatever it is that she's interested in. She's not going to put in the work.
No, she's not gonna put in the work. That's clear. Let me get these last few comments, and then I do have another question, because clearly I do have one more question here. Food Plane says, ironically, the more someone lives behind a false identity, the lonelier they often become. People may admire the image, but they don't actually know the real person. That can create anxiety because they are afraid of being found out. Yeah, it's a mask. Wearing that mask is heavy. I'm going to find that quote from James Baldwin, because it's a beautiful one. Just says, allowing society to tell you who you're supposed to be instead of you dictating your own life is finding your own path. Let me tell you, that's how I ended up in Dallas. That's another story for another day. Okay. But that's how I ended up in Dallas, forcing things that weren't supposed to happen, trying to live society's ideas. And I was like, these shoes don't fit. Why is that? She says also is that they have to inwardly look at themselves and say, what was it about myself that made me fall for that? So with that, let me stop here. I'm gonna stop there. Let me get to this next question. I'm gonna throw it to you, Dr. Tachi. I'm gonna throw it to you. And it is, what does this trend say about our relationship with expertise? How does pop culture normalize cosplay the professional? And before I go there, hold up. I'm sorry. There was a little tag here. This harm, why is it not harmless? Okay, that's the whole point. Like, why is this harm not harmless? So what does that trend say about us and experts? Because we have real experts out here telling you that you should not drink milk straight from the cow. And you should not be using these horse drugs or putting bleach in your veins. So please tell me, how does pop culture normalize cosplaying the profession?
Well, this is the interesting thing, because it goes all the way back to, I play a doctor on TV, right? Mm-hmm. It goes all the way back to that we see these things on television and we conflate. First of all, we conflate expertise and popularity. So the more popular someone is in our heads, the more expertise they have. That's one thing. The second thing is, when we look at popular culture, again, pop culture, when we look at television, when we look at movies, everybody is playing someone else. So there has always been a cosplay of doctors. There has always been, this type of thing. But inadvertently, it tells us that is okay. right?
Mhm.
Because we have these parasocial relationships with these characters. We confuse the actor with the character.
Mhm.
And I'm not saying that that's everybody's case, but there are some people who do that. And then when we look at popular culture in terms of social media, what's glitzy and glamorous and expertise supposedly filled, these are the people that get everything. So let's look. I work with a lot of realtors, right? And so I do video for them, etc. When you look at a lot of the video, which is why I try to make Gary's videos different, because everybody, all the realtors have the same thing. And of course, you have to show the homes, but you've got, oh, here's a slick 4K video with a drone shot that zooms in really quickly, then it stops, and then it goes around the kitchen. Every house looks the same. Everybody looks at, and especially, I'm talking especially about down here in South Florida, everything is super monolithic, in my opinion, here. 100%. So yeah, everything looks the same. But you see that type of thing, and it's facade. So you think, oh, to the point of pop culture, you see that everything looks the same. But is that really the case? Is everybody that's a realtor really making bank? No, you're an independent contractor, so you only get paid once you sell something. But watch, let $1 Million Listing tell it. All these realtors are living high on the hog. So popular culture has always had a way of making us believe that something is the case when it is actually not the case. Back to the days of I Play a Doctor on TV.
Yeah, 100%. That was very nice. I love that, Dr. Tachi. Thank you for that.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, I was like, okay, we just let me get back to the comments then, because I was like, okay, she did that. She did it. DS says, yes, I always say your gift can take you where your character won't keep you.
Come on.
Oh,
exactly.
He says Lisa says, I'm not sure if you guys saw the episode where she cussed out Toure, but what the therapist does, what the doctor does, that on that live TV ad.
I saw that.
Yeah, and I know she tried to be degrading by calling him soft. I was like, you know what?
Don't do it. Like,
here's the deal. If you have and I'm not saying that I'm a con artist. I'm just saying that I do peep game. But I'm also a Virgo. We are extremely discerning. I think everybody's trying to run a con. I'm just saying. But I was also in retail, so anyone who walked in the door was a suspect. Which is why I'm just trying. Look, real quick, I gave the best service. Everybody got top tier service. I was like, "Hey, Granny, how can I help you with you and that stroller?" Everybody got top tier service because I didn't care what age you were, what you look like. Especially if you had babies, I was like, "Nah, she coming here to steal some stuff. Let me go figure this out real quick." Yes, that was cool.
Wow.
And if you're in New York City, you know what I'm talking about. Please don't believe. I mean, I'm just saying it was the deal. Everybody was suspect, but when you service people, they're like, "Oh my gosh, she's so attentive." You damn right, kid. I'm peeping you. But if you listen to people, you can hear when things are not adding up. Like the math is not mathing. It's like, how did anyone ever listen to her, or even Belle Gibson? How did anyone look at those social media posts or what have you and think this is legit? Like where is that? I'm going to that topic next. We're going to talk about discernment. But Jazzy says, is she actually interested in the subject, or is she more interested in being in the room? It's the room. She wants the room. She wants the room. I mean, she started it but didn't finish it. I mean, there are very few people who don't finish a marathon. It is 26.2. That 0.2 counts. Trust me. If you don't get the 0.2, you don't get the medal. Some people don't finish because the body gives out, but I don't care if you walk it, if you crawl across that line, you're going to finish. Not everybody wants to finish. She wants the room. She wants the title. She wants what comes with titles, but she don't want that work. And look, some of this stuff you're going to have to work for. This microwave mentality of I'll just pay for it. I'll just buy the followers. I'll just buy the degree. I'll just do whatever. It's like, and what does it get you though? Because when you open your mouth, I'm like, you know what you're talking about. You have no idea what you're talking about. And I can peep it. which we know exists in every single room. When you're out there at any network event, it could be a work event, it could be a networking event, it could just be any event. When people start talking about stuff, and you're just like, you don't know what you're talking about. You have no idea. As this one kid said, he was like, can you spell orange? He's like, what, you mean the fruit or the color? Yeah, it's like that. It's like that. You don't know what you're talking about. Things that many people say she's actually brilliant. She should take the time to go get her doctorate.
No, it's too late.
Dr. Tachi.
Because here's the thing too. This is another thing that we have to think about. What doctoral program would actually accept her knowing she's a grifter? Now we have to kind of look at the fact that doctoral study now has become a grift in and of itself. But any doctoral program worth its weight in salt or gold or iron ore or whatever is not going to accept her into the program. Number one, like you said, she doesn't want to do the work. She wants access to the rooms. But number two, say she did want to do that, that would really mess with your reputation as a program to do that. So nobody would accept her.
Yeah, they wouldn't take her. Andy says, if I have to go to the ER for emergency surgery, I don't want to find out that George Clooney or Noah Wiley did my surgery.
Exactly. Anthony.
So with that, let's talk about discernment. Can we really quick? Because I know I've enjoyed this conversation. I really have. And this is, I know we have talked about Cheyenne and some of the others. We didn't talk about, we mentioned Monica Davis and that Brandon Dillard. Again, you were going to get them to work, but you don't check to see if they're actually legit. But these are the same people who may also go to some other place to get their cosmetic surgery and wonder why their body is like, I don't know what you did, but this is not happening. And now you are in massive pain because you didn't want to pay for quality care. So we're talking about discernment. What should we be doing, ladies? What should we be doing in this place where clearly there is some level of greed based both on the provider, right, the grifter, and the person being scammed? There is some greed there because you wanted the best price on veneers, I guess, and you wanted to extend your money, hence the susu. You were like, and it's hard. Okay, I'm sorry. Hold on real quick. It's hard because what I hate in some of these American greed stories when it comes to the financial grift is that you have people who say, I have $10,000. That's all I have left. But I have this major health issue. If I could just make this 10,000 into 20, that would be better. Is there some level of greed there? Yeah, but I know why they're trying to make it last, right? And so it's hard to want. I don't want to shame them, but also it goes back to if it's too good to be true, you gotta know it's not true.
Yeah,
it's not true.
Yeah,
right. So, how do we get people to get back to being practical and grounded? Like, is that time going to come back? Because we're living in the age of foolery right now, clearly.
That is such a loaded question, G. I pray, and that's where hope comes back. I hope, and I have hope that we are. There's a word called emotional contagion in emotional intelligence. And emotional contagion is the phenomenon where emotions spread from one person to the other, almost just like a virus. So going back to, we don't just catch colds, we don't just catch fear, excitement. This is where these folks are coming from. We don't just catch, we even catch certainty. So that confidence, that person is projecting on that screen. When someone appears incredibly in the know and they know what they're talking about on social media, that confidence becomes contagious. And even if it's built around false emotions or credentials, people begin to think, If everyone thinks that she is it, I believe it too. Maybe I should too, right? And that's emotional contagion perfectly at work. We need to go back to, I always say the four things that we are in charge of is we are in charge of how we think, how we feel, how we speak, and how we act. If we don't have those things on lock, which goes back to emotional intelligence, you are responsible for your own, how your emotions, how you show up, and you got to be able to peep the game when someone is feeding you fluff.
Mm, 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 mm.
Yes. Yes.
You know that contagion part is interesting because when I think about the more specifically and the susu, they were told to tell like 5 other people, but they can't tell anybody about it, right? Like if you get in, you can't tell anybody else, and because they receive like maybe $200 or the first payment, they're like, oh my God, it works. And so then they go and tell somebody else who tells somebody else who tells somebody else.
And they're hooked.
And it is like, well, clearly if it's working for her, it worked for me. And yes. That's, God, I love that. I never heard of that, but thank you, Dr. Dale.
Yeah.
Thank you for expressing that one. Dr. Tachi, you want to add anything to this?
I do. In terms of what we need to do, we need to get back to researching and making sure that we trust our inner instinct, because there is always something that goes off when something is not right. That is our protection. Whether or not we choose to listen to that voice, that's a different story altogether. But when you're going for, particularly when we're talking about medical care, right? Particularly when we're talking about investment, don't just go with the first individual who offers that. Do some research. And the problem is, it's as Dr. Dale said, these things are lengthy. They take time. And we are not patient. So what we want is the first person who says, who has a green shirt on, we'll go with them. They know St. Patrick's Day, we'll go with them. Rather than going for somebody who actually studies and understands St. Patrick's Day and is probably already Irish, right? We just go for the person with the green shirt on with the clover in the center. So we need to do more research. We need to, it takes nothing. Again, there are accrediting boards that are in existence to protect us. If you go to those boards, it will show you whether or not these individuals have accreditation with those boards. And if a person is not accredited by a certain board, they may still be, for example, a physician. They just don't have accreditation under that. But then is that the person that you want to be a specialist for X, Y, and Z? It takes time to find the right fit for anything. So we just have to get back to taking more time to do the research. Same thing with how they do bids. Most of the time, whenever it's an organization, they ask for 3 bids before they go with a person. Please at least use 3 before you decide this is the person. When I tore my ACL in 2015, I didn't just go to the first doctor who said, oh, okay, because the first doctor wanted to do surgery. I said, I don't want that. So then I went to another one who was into PCP, the platelet-rich or PRP, platelet-rich therapy. And while that looked promising, they hadn't had enough that was done with it to show that was going to do something for that. So then the third one was like, you don't have to have surgery. We could do physical therapy, but you just have to always keep the muscles around your knees strong. Bingo. That's who I went with. Had I just went for the first one, I would have been, laid up in some surgery bed. Yeah. So always do your research. Think about it in 3s, at least 3 bids.
That's a good one. So I want to talk about Camille's question and also add in there, because you guys have already said it. We need to verify credentials, right? Verify it, medical, mental health, verify it. And also, again, ask better questions. Where did you train? What are your qualifications? And you should normalize, say, hey, that sounds good, but let me check on that, especially in this world. Now, here's where Camille's question or I should say statement comes in and has become worse since the world of AI. There are so many things out here that are not real. I would just love it for people to just, before you go sending something, just check to see if it's legit. And that's for all the things. I mean, that includes some people who are using black faces to sell products to black people, although they're not black owned. I mean, all of it.
Yes.
Maybe you should become like a Virgo. Question every damn thing.
Yes.
Just everything. Question it. Like, let me just check real quick. Okay, so that's not okay. Great. So I'm not doing that. Like, it doesn't hurt you to stop and say, let me just question it. And I know that can come across as not being trusting. I get it. But there is so much fraud and fakery out here that we're going to have to like swim through it some way, somehow. And that's from just pausing.
Right.
Just pause for a second. It doesn't take much to just pause for a second and say, let me get back to you on that. Or let me go research it before I go sending something, sharing something, suggesting someone. Let me just pause for a second. That's not. Do you guys see the AI issue slowing down anytime soon? I don't.
Not at all.
You know, I don't see it slowing down, but I do see that there is a pushback against things that are AI. So I think that people are using a more critical eye, even though sometimes they're like, that's AI. I'm like, every damn thing is not AI. But, but at least it's got people thinking about the fact that this could possibly have been created using artificial intelligence. So I need to do a little more. So I think this pushback against AI is good because it's making people think that I need to do more research.
Yeah. As Anthony says, listen to your gut, use critical thinking. You know what, Anthony, I remember growing up about, you know, questioning things and using your gutometer, as we said, using your gutometer, like, ooh, that feels funny. Now, why does it feel funny? Right? Like, what's that spidey sense? I don't know if some of us have really worked that skill. You know, it's like some of us is just, yeah, but isn't this what that does? Because it says, it's like, no. And you have to it's like trust but verify is what I told my team.
100%.
That's what I need to verify it
all the time. So,
right, need to trust but verify. Lisa says, and the people who heavily rely on ChatGPT and other AI models, you need to double check them as well because they lie. Girl, they're the best liars on the planet. They are the best liars. I had an argument last night with my AI friend. And I was like, say, man, according to so-and-so's website, they now are able to use a wireless mic. This machine said, no, G, I am telling you. It cannot. And I was like, when I said, I was like, wait a minute, we got to have a conversation. I just told you.
You're wrong. You're wrong.
I was like, you know what? I'm good. He said, you want it? I was like, I'm good. He said, we're not going to keep going back and forth. But I done told you that the manufacturer said this now works. It's like, I know what you think you said, and I know how content creators say this, but that's still not true. I said, I don't. Yeah. It's just a tool. Okay, so really quick, before I go to these last comments and let this great conversation come to an end, Dr. Dale and I were chatting beforehand, and it's about language. And I am very specific about the language I use. AI is a tool, okay? Capitalism is a tool. So when you say AI took jobs, AI did not take the job. Some greedy human took that job. We need to be more intentional in all the things that we do and stop using language that passes the buck and the responsibility onto some inanimate thing. I hate saying should because Dr. Dale knows you shouldn't go shitting on people. She knows that. She knows it. You shouldn't go shitting on people. This is one where I am going to say should. We need to be more intentional with our language.
100%.
Put the blame, put the responsibility where it belongs. Some greedy person somewhere decided that your job was not necessary because they're cheap and they're greedy.
And
Let
they
me get off
chose
my
to
soapbox.
sacrifice you over
Exactly.
everything
Thank
else.
you.
Simple as
Yes.
that.
Exactly.
Oh, Jazzy, the data and AI is only as good as the person submitting the information. We ain't gonna talk about that.
Yes.
The
We're not
prompts.
gonna talk
Talk
about
about the prompts. Them prompts.
Yes.
how the machine is using bad info to train the new machine. So now machine is even okay. Yeah, we don't want to talk about that. She said, I saw a video where this woman said if the business has an AI flyer, she won't support it. What the hell is that about? Why do you?
Oh,
Okay, let me say this really quick. Thank you, Lisa. We as humans, we have this thing about being so perfect and being without any sort of guilt or fault. For anybody using a laptop, a desktop computer, a cell phone, a tablet, is a very good chance conflict materials were used to make that. Your hands are dirty, okay? Dirty. Right? And just because you don't want to recognize where those materials came from and who was impacted by it does not mean that you are now above everybody else and better than. Trust that. We all dirty. Every single baby, every person in here has got some dirt on their hands.
Yeah.
Now, how we choose to move after knowing that is what makes the difference. That's the difference. But please don't act like, oh, I've never used AI. If you're using spell check, if you've been using Microsoft Word since Clippy was asking you if you needed help to write your project, it's AI. Okay.
Grammarly. Remember?
Grammarly. I was like, seriously, girl, humans kill me sometimes. Humans kill me. Some AI bots will tell you that there is an X in black and in February. Girl.
What?
Yes. Yeah. It's bad info. AI will gaslight you. It will. It will. It most certainly will. And talk about grifters, these tech AI gurus who have been trying to convince all of us that they created AI to make the world better versus lining their pockets with more money.
Amen. They are the biggest grifters.
Oh my God.
Sam Altman, you all are the definition of grift.
Just call it what it is. You're in for the money and make the big bucks. Just call it what it is. Stand 10 toes down.
Yes. Yes.
And it's not just AI. This is social media in general. If you remember, I have been on so many apps where you could have people in seats and you could have conversations like this, right? There have been so many of them that have come and gone. And there were those of us that were really dedicated to making those spaces great. So that people, but do you think the owners cared? No, they turned out the lights for those of us that were on Blab while conversations were going on. They said, they're like, go ahead. They just left us. So they were in it. It's one thing because a lot of people will some of these tech people will also start apps with the goal of having them acquired. They're not thinking about us. They're thinking about how can I develop this so that I can sell it. So when you look at that, that's a key way not to get got by grifters. When you know what their goal is, okay, fine, I'll use this, but guess what? I'm building my own someplace else.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, because there was that human robot that couldn't even pick up stuff, couldn't pick up glass, whatever, and they were taking pre-orders for it, but they needed humans. Like if you wanted the robot to do some autonomous things, you had to schedule a time to have a human log in to that robot to look through the robot's eyes to do the autonomous work because it can't do it.
What?
And it was an extra cost for that service.
And it was an extra cost for that. I was like, what? But the whole deal was to just get attention. And like you said, perhaps just sell it off to somebody else.
Yeah.
You know what? This is just Anthony says my best friend is a traveling caricature artist, and he tells me that AI has really put a dent in his livelihood because of the AI caricature trend that everyone's a part of. Here's the deal,
imagine. That's true.
Here's the deal about this tool, and it is a tool. People still get photography. They still get cakes made. They still do a lot of stuff because it's not the tool per se. It is what you provide. It's the experience. And everybody's not your customer, right? So when people don't hire me for something, they're like, "You want what?" Well, you're not my customer anyway, so I'm not worried about you.
Right.
I'm not worried about you. If you need to go to an AI tool to get your headshot done, and hopefully you're not using someone else's photo to get that AI done, that AI headshot, then do that. The person I'm talking to does not want to do that. There's a need for every single thing, right? It's a need for every single thing.
I have someone that reached out to me on LinkedIn, a bunch of people asking me to offer their services, AI image, and they want me to pay. I was like, but I can do that myself. I'm not, because I'm not interested in that. But they're offering for me to pay. I was like, are you serious? Who is not knowing that this stuff is free?
There are people who don't know. There are people who don't. I mean, that's a whole. It's a whole thing. I did not see the AI robot that was dancing to Michael Jackson. And
I did.
And it was an AI robot that was doing like some karate and kicked a kid in the stomach. I saw that.
What?
There was that. There was one that was doing Michael Jackson. And I was trying not to laugh because I want them to spare me during the robot apocalypse. So I was trying not to laugh. And there's another one that came up that was dancing. It came up yesterday and it was actually doing like some type of ballet. And it spazzed out and ended up doing, the death drop that they do in ballroom culture.
What?
Yeah.
It ended up doing that, but it didn't do it on purpose.
Wow.
It just spazzed out.
It's like,
So they're not there. Machines are not there yet.
They're not there. They're not there because humans are there. Humans have to use the machines, right? At the end of the day, it's just, and humans are failing flaws. We got a way to go. A ways ago before she said, please send it to, she wants to see the death drop.
I will. I'll send it. I'll see if I can find it.
Before I let everybody go here, we do have some upcoming events, believe it or not. You can get on the email list, Mature and Marvelous. You can join the email list and scan that QR code to get on there. I am overdue for something, but what can I tell you? Life be life, and it's going to be all right. You can also check out the Luma calendar for upcoming events across the board. We are scheduled out, I think, up until September or October. So scan that QR code and get on the list there. And hey, I finally made it. We're at 1,000. So we are planning our 1,000 party, our celebration. There will be confetti, not a powder bomb. There will be confetti. And there's going to be giveaways. So we got this Disrupt collection that we're going to give away. We have candles and notebooks. And because, I turned it off. I was like, where are you, Gwendolyn? Because I like to read. We are giving away a copy of Communion by Belle Hook, The Female Search for Love. And speaking of love, I found that James Baldwin quote. Thank you guys. Thank you, Jazzy. Thank everybody for being here. I brought in some beautiful people to help us have this conversation and really dig into it beyond the surface level of grifting. I want to know the why. I want to know the why, the how, the what, how it impacts real people. We talk about that damage because everyone talks about the grifter and we completely forget the victims. Because people have been harmed and are continuing to be harmed. So we want to talk about that. But here's the quote from James Baldwin. Here is that quote. It says, "Love takes off the mask that we fear we cannot live without and know we cannot live within." And that is from The Fire Next Time. That is James Baldwin. I was like, I just, how you have these quotes, you're like, right, it's love. If you had that self-love, you wouldn't need a mask because I don't wear a mask.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Now, I know it comes across as khaki, but I love me some jeans.
It's exhausting.
It is.
wearing that mask is exhausting. Let's get these last comments and I let you guys go and enjoy your canteens of water. He says, speaking of robot apocalypse, I always say thank you to Siri and chat because I did ask. Believe they will remember the humans who were mean to them, and I do have to cuss them out a few times as well. The gaslighting is real. Oh, thank you, DS. Thank you, Mother. I appreciate everybody who showed up today and participated. Thank you everybody for coming through and sharing with us your thoughts about this. This is just the first one because, like I said, I would love to do one about Black grifters. Because I think it takes a certain somebody who decides to exploit and harm people who are already being harmed by a system designed to not,
religious
and then there are the
too.
people who are adopting kids to use them as pawns. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
There is, and the influencers who claim to be home improvement people but stealing millions.
Oh, that's another. The influencers, the religious people. Oh, we could have our own American greed.
We could do our own American greed.
The world does not. The future does not need more influencers. It needs honesty, humility, integrity, character. Like it needs. Those are credentials that change lives. That's what the future needs. So. Grifters, human beings, let's do better.
Let's do better. Well, let me do this. I mean, I love that you gave that last thought, Dr. Dale. I'm going to put you back on the screen. How can people connect with you?
Oh, please reach out to me. My website, dalereports.com. That's it. And there you can just follow all my social media is also Dr. Dale Reports. On all social media, you can find me. Let's connect. Let's have a conversation and stay connected and support each other in any which way we can. I love this conversation. Thank you.
Thank you for being here. Dr. Tachi?
Yeah, so you can actually get, you know what, the best way, if you want to reach me in different ways, my link tree, which I probably should have given to you, but it's linktr.ee/dr_Tachi. So that's a good way, and you can reach me in a myriad of ways.
Okay. I do remember. Let me put this up. Goodness gracious. Gwendolyn, Renee, Houston Jack. All right. So this is Dr. Dale. Let me make it full screen. You can scan her QR code. It will take you to her website. So that is Dr. Dale. And for Dr. Tachi, this is her QR code, and it will take you to her link tree. So that is there. Because I want to make sure.
Look at you.
Girl, Virgos be doing some things. Okay, I'm saying, like, I'm tell you.
Wow.
Let me tell you really quick, Virgos be doing some things. You know what I'm saying? So just go, and because Anthony put it in there, I'm gonna go ahead and shout it out. Everyone come to the Galaxy Old Fiddlers Convention this August 3rd through the 8th. That's oldfiddlerconvention.com. Thank you for sharing that, Anthony. And the food plane says Reverend Leon Lonnie Love was on American Greed. Oh my God. Oh my goodness. Okay.
Gwendolyn,
thank you again for tuning in. I so appreciate all of you for being here. If the good Lord allows, I'm going to see you all next week. I will tell you now, it's going to be an interesting conversation, so you definitely want to be in there. But until then, be safe, have a good weekend, and I will see you all, Lord willing. Hey, it's G. Thank you for watching this episode of Girl Listen. Be sure to catch me every Friday at 4 p.m. Central, 5 p.m. Eastern. And while you're here, I cordially invite you to like, share, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. See you all next week.